Wait, did you want to be a girl dad?
Uh,
Was that your preference?
no, like I told you, right? My preference was whatever God, gives us,
Mhm.
and my answer stays the same to this
Yeah.
day because I know that God is the one that blesses you to become a parent, and it's something that I don't take for granted. It's something that is highly sacred to me, and so whatever that gender is, I'll do my best as the person responsible, one of the persons responsible to bring it in this world. I'll do my best to provide and care for that baby. So that's what I've been doing, and it just happens to be that God blessed us with a beautiful, beautiful daughter, and I'm loving on her, man. Hello, I'm Tijani Musa.
And I'm Yasmin Musa, and this is how we're doing it.
Welcome to How We're Doing It. Here we share stories about our journey and experiences of being first-generation college graduates, our family, buying our first home, moving across the country, and living a debt-free lifestyle. We do so in an authentic, fun, and educational way to help other first-generation immigrants with similar paths. So, what do we have going on today? What are we talking about?
Well, today we are talking about pregnancy.
All right. Let's do it.
All right. We got pregnant in January of 2021.
Yep.
And we had our baby October 2021.
Right. But we got pregnant in February, right?
Well, my last period was January. And remember, they count the day of your last period as the beginning of your pregnancy. So when by the time you find out you're pregnant, you're technically a month pregnant already.
Yeah, that's true. You're right.
4 weeks.
You're right.
And then normally around 8 weeks is when you go, if you call your OB and let them know, hey, I tested positive, they'll schedule you for an appointment around 8 weeks.
Right. That makes sense. And so if you are in the process of, you're already pregnant, right? And we are going to go through some of the things that we went through when we were pregnant, speaking like Yasmin being pregnant, and some of the communication things, some of the things that we encounter, and how we basically responded to those things. So if you are in that journey in your life where you're pregnant with your partner, this is the episode you don't want to skip. This is the episode you want to listen to. So Yasmin, what is the first thing that they should consider during this journey?
I think the biggest thing to keep in mind is that pregnancy altogether is a journey.
Yeah.
A journey where there's always going to be something to worry about.
Yeah.
During those first couple weeks after you get your positive test,
Mm-hmm.
you're worried about, until you have your first appointment at 8 months, you just kind of worry. Sorry, not 8 months, at 8 weeks. You just worry and pray, and make sure you don't have any insurance that everything's okay, until your doctor really sees you.
Right.
And so you're worrying about that first appointment, and then you have the first appointment, and then you have to get all these tests and all these blood work and all these things done, and then you're worried about other things, and then then you're worried about the genetic testing if you choose to do that. You're worried about finding out the sex of the baby if you're gonna find out. You're worried about the anatomy scan. Around 20 weeks you get an anatomy scan done of the baby, and it's something you worry about because you want to make sure everything's good with your baby. And it's just you pass one challenge,
Mm-hmm.
and then another one comes up constantly.
I think you're giving the information raw, this is unedited. You're saying exactly what happened to us, and you're not sugarcoating anything. I'm loving it.
No, I mean, it's true. I mean, I think my first appointment was at 9 weeks.
Right.
And I remember before my first appointment, I had bleeding. And then you go on Google, the first thing you see is miscarriage. So obviously you start, panicking, oh my God, and could I be having a miscarriage? And I remember I contacted my OB when that happened. She sent me to get some blood work done. And then, I didn't find out really anything until like 2 weeks later when I had, my actual appointment with her.
Right.
And my HCG hormone levels did go up. So it just confirmed that, I was still pregnant. But, it was one thing to worry about.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely being pregnant. It's one of those journeys that as exciting as they are, they are also time in your life where you are constantly having to be mindful of the way you take care of your body, to be mindful of the prenatal care, like you making sure that your checkups with your physician or your primary care doctor or your OBGYN in this case, those things are up to date. So it's one of those journeys that they are exciting journey, but at the same time, they also keep you on your toes because of the things that you have to worry about.
Absolutely. And not to even talk about like the morning sickness. Like
right.
It's not just in the morning, guys. It's all day. Like, you're just going to feel like wanting to throw up. I remember I would just gag all the time.
Yeah.
We'd be talking and then I'd be like, bleh. Constantly.
Right.
Like all day, every day for a good, 3 months during that first trimester.
Yeah.
And then my first trimester, I had so many food aversions, like literally all the things I used to eat pre-pregnancy, I could not tolerate. My main one was eggs and chicken.
Yeah, my favorite. So,
avocados.
Imagine.
I could not stand them during pregnant. I couldn't even be near the smell, honestly.
Basically, we wasn't eating chicken because you were pregnant. And so I couldn't even when I think about it, you already want to vomit.
Yeah, literally.
Without even seeing the chicken.
It was crazy. And then, do you remember too that some days would just water and like crackers.
Oh yeah,
it was like
I remember
my go-to. And my friend Rachel, shout out to my friend Rachel, because she was already a mom at the time and she was giving me all the tips. She told me drink ice cold water with lots of lemon, and that was like sometimes the only thing I could tolerate.
Oh yeah, that was amazing. You definitely, it would have been crazy if we had the fridge that we have right now.
Why?
Because the fridge that we had when you were pregnant, it's the one with the little icicle thing. We had to put the water in and freeze it. But now
like the plastic ice.
Yeah. We had to
manually make
constantly refuel.
I mean, so, it wasn't really a problem because we would take ice from my parents' fridge upstairs. Maybe it was a problem for you, but I had no issue.
That's the problem. We got to go upstairs and get the...
that's a personal problem for you then.
Definitely. It was personal because I was the one who was doing it. Yeah.
Yeah. No, you weren't. Whatever. Then I feel like second trimester was like ideal trimester. And they do normally call it the best trimester because by that point you're not as tired.
Right.
And you have that pregnancy glow and that morning sickness goes away a lot of times. For some women it doesn't. But for me it was morning sickness gone. I wasn't as tired. Somehow, I felt pretty and I had a small bump, I think I was in that stage where people were like, is she pregnant or did she just gain COVID weight? And everybody was like afraid to ask. So
yeah. It's delicate times.
Yeah. That's also around the time we took our baby moon in the second trimester.
Oh yeah. We went to Aruba. Aruba was
perfect,
fun.
Yeah. It was fun. I mean, we just had to be extra safe because there was a lot of things we couldn't do.
Right.
Like some of the excursions, they were like, if you're pregnant, you can't do that. So we just hung out at the beach a lot, went to the pool. We did stuff that was like safe. Like I remember we did a sunset cruise or tour thing.
Yeah, I remember that. It was amazing.
And then we did instead of going on an ATV ride, because obviously that would have been very bumpy.
Right.
We hired like a private taxi person to take us around to some of the spots on the island.
Right.
It was still very fun.
So definitely, yeah, like things like that, it's something, especially like in the second trimester, speak with your doctor and make sure that, they give you the best medical advice at the time. And for us, in our case, we were still able to travel and we were just very, very careful in the things that we did. And we had a lot of fun. And the most amazing thing happened in Aruba. That's when
I
Jaslyn,
felt my first.
yeah, and you were crying, right?
Oh yeah, I remember I felt it because before that I had felt flutters, but as a first time pregnant person, first time mom, I didn't really know what I was feeling. Like I thought it was just my stomach rumbling in there. And then but that time in Aruba, I remember I was laying down on my side and I felt a very good kick. And I was like, oh my God, she kicked. And I started crying. It was really great, honestly.
Yeah, it was.
I think one thing to consider and just keep in mind too is a lot of times, in between your monthly appointments, it's just you. It's just you and your partner, and you don't really get a lot of information on the baby. We didn't have one of those at home, heartbeat monitors.
No.
We,
Too stressful.
Yeah. It wasn't until the baby started moving that I started getting that reassurance, okay,
right.
Everything's okay, you know? But before that, you're just kind of on your own, just waiting patiently for things to progress.
Yeah. At that time, the only thing you could do is just taking care of yourself, if you enjoy exercise, you do exercises that are appropriate for your pregnancy.
Yeah, we would go on a lot of walks.
Yeah, which we did. You did a lot of yoga and we did a lot of walks together. So that is one way.
Eating healthy.
Absolutely.
As healthy as I could. I'll be honest, I was eating healthier, I feel before I got pregnant, because once I got pregnant, I had all those food aversions. And then everything that I craved, was all the Mexican food, essentially, all the food I grew up eating as a child. So I was craving empanadas, tostadas.
Yeah.
All the fried food, essentially, is what baby was craving in the belly.
Yep. And another thing that is also important when you're pregnant with your partner, right? I also want to talk to you about this. It's the birth plan and education, because during your research, we were researching what is it called? Vaginal birth, right? That was our main research. We want to know everything about it, but in our case, that's not how it panned out at the end. We ended up having a C-section. And most of the research that you did you do?
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
I remember overlooking some of it.
Right.
And then I really regretted it when I was at the hospital, because I was I should have done more research. How do you recover from a C-section? I don't even know.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think anything could have prepared me for, the healing process and how painful it was going to be to go through the C-section.
Yeah. That was very, very emotional. And that also, just like the previous episode when we were talking about trying to conceive, to become pregnant, ask the question, okay, as a husband, how do you support your wife during this journey? And it goes back to, being there emotionally, right? So when we were pregnant and Yasmin was doing most of the research and I'm there, supporting her through the research, supporting her through the emotional feedback that we were getting from her body. And then finally, when it was time to go to the hospital, I was also there. And the the emotional weight that it takes on her body, just being there, being physically being there, being emotionally there to support her and have my arms around her and crying with her. Those things definitely. What do you think? Were they instrumental at all?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
I think one other thing you did too is every week you'd ask me how can I serve you this week?
Yep.
And honestly, it was the best gift you could give me, because I knew you had so much going on. But literally that first trimester, I was just sometimes sitting on a couch doing absolutely nothing. Just sitting on the couch and trying to not vomit all over the place. And I remember you'd ask me how can I serve you? And I'd be well, can you just clean the bathroom, or can you cook?
Yeah.
Like the simple things that I used to have no issue doing, where all of a sudden, like, I just didn't have the energy for it. I'd be sleeping all the time. And that was really big. And then towards like second trimester, it was more so like fulfilling my cravings, you know, like whatever I was craving that week. By third trimester, you get pretty tired, honestly. By third trimester, the baby gets pretty big. Every week you look at yourself and you're just growing and growing. You're like, I can't possibly get any bigger, but then you somehow keep getting bigger. And then the baby's movement is a lot more pronounced on your body. Like if she would move a certain way, I'd be like, ow, 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 okay, calm down. So you just kind of adapt. By that third trimester, I think it was like just gentle things. Like I think one of the last things that I think I did was like go get like a pedicure, simple stuff. And then you'd always ask me like what I wanted every week. It was thoughtful.
Can you talk about the little big, it's not so little, but that big pillow that came and took over my bed?
Oh, the pregnancy pillow.
Yeah,
everybody
pillow.
needs a pregnancy pillow. Every
how important is that one?
Well, it is very important because you're not supposed to lay on your back. Like
right.
That was one of the main reasons why we got it, because something about it, there's like a vein and it's not like safe for you to lay on your back. So you got to get comfortable on your side.
Right.
And so that pregnancy pillow was instrumental. And I mean, we still do. We have a pretty small bed. And so, because of that, like the pregnancy pillow took over most of it, and I just sleep on my side.
Yep.
And adapt.
That pregnancy pillow pretty much took over my bed, and the hugs that I used to get,
you weren't getting any more.
I wasn't getting any more hugs. The pregnancy pillow was getting all the hugs. But it's very important. So some of the things that I did, as a husband supporting my wife during this journey, things that I like to do every single night is talk to the baby while the baby was in the belly. Like I would talk to the baby. I'll say, hey, this is your dad talking to you. I'll pray for the baby. Every single night I'll pray for the baby. Those things I think are very, very important to do. Just having that conversation with your baby. It may seem like a silly thing to do, but according to the people with medical degrees, they said the baby can actually hear you when it reaches a certain number of weeks in the belly. And so they can recognize your voice. So I was talking to the baby, praying for the baby. And
you would read to the baby too.
Of course. I was reading every single night. And
or like rapping. I have a video of you rapping to the baby instead of reading.
All of it. Oh, yeah, you're right.
The brown bear, what do you see?
We still have that book. I was rapping.
Were you rapping it to her?
Yeah, I was right.
Oh my God.
I forgot about the pregnancy rapping. Yeah, good times. I had so much fun with pregnancy.
I think people would want to know this. Were we having sex while I was pregnant?
That's a tough question. I think that deserves something. What do you think?
Is that a yes?
Yes.
So we were, as long as we were allowed to.
Right.
So that first trimester, because I was spotting and for no reason.
Right.
I was put on pelvic rest.
Right.
So that basically meant no sex.
Right.
For a good couple weeks. And then by second trimester, once everything was, we cleared with our doctor that everything was good, we were able to start trying to have sex again. And then by third trimester, honestly, you're just uncomfortable.
Yeah. It's definitely like love making. I don't call it sex. Love making.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. As the belly grows, love making becomes like creative act. You have to be creative. Like for me, I drew inspiration from Breaking Bad. Like my position is called the Dwight. I'm not gonna explain my position the way I was able to get something, but it was called the Dwight, and I was able to make it work. As the belly grew.
Is his name Dwight or Walter White?
I think
you just messed it up. It's the Walter White.
The Walter White from Breaking Bad. but that was my position. And like I said, making love was a creative act, and we were able to prioritize that when we can. And another thing that probably the husband also want to know, or somebody who is taking up that role to become a father or a daddy, does your wife really, or your partner, do they really wake you up in the middle of the night to get them ice cream?
I never woke you up.
Nope. My wife never woke me up.
Sometimes I'd wake up to eat something random in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
But I'd never wake you up.
I caught you a few times eating in the 2
Eating in
a.m.
the dark.
Yeah, I'm like,
I'd
why
be
you
like,
trying
"I'm
to be
starving."
slick?
I was always hungry. That's the thing about like second trimester. You make up for everything that you didn't eat that first trimester because you're just eating.
Right.
And then by third trimester, you're eating more and more and more.
Right.
Let's talk a little bit about the resources that we use to get our knowledge.
That is very, very important. Let's talk about the resources.
So from very early on,
Mm-hmm.
I started using the What to Expect app. Even from like when I was like trying to conceive, really, because I wanted to know like where like the changes that were happening within my body.
Right.
And so as soon as I got that positive, I was like, all right, like now I can set a date of when the baby is due.
And to be clear, What to Expect is the name of the app.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So it's
What
not
to
like
Expect is the name of the app.
Exactly.
They have a podcast too, but the podcast hasn't had new episodes in a while.
And they have a website as well.
Mm-hmm, yeah. There's a book too. It's actually it all came from a book.
Yeah. And for me, yeah, I also downloaded the app What to Expect because it's a very, very useful app to have. And then it gives you breakdowns on week by week how information is with your baby, with your spouse or your partner, those type of things.
Yeah. It'll even tell you like baby is the size of this fruit or vegetable. Was it fruits? I think it was fruits.
Yeah, I guess
this week.
you can pick whether.
Yeah, you can pick what you want it to be. We picked fruit, and then it was like fruits or vegetables.
Right.
And then every week you would take a picture, remember?
Yep.
Like
when you go to the grocery store, you buy that particular
fruit of the week.
Yep, and then we'll take pictures. We still have those pictures. Maybe one day when we have a website, we'll put them up there. You took the
pictures.
Yep.
I felt like just not being the one behind the screen because I didn't feel glamorous most of those days.
You were the one that was the camera woman.
I was the camera. Yeah.
And another app that was so useful to us is called The Bump, that was recommended by one of our friends. And then
I found Baby Center to be more helpful.
Yeah, Baby Center is also another app that was.
Baby Center has cute videos of like the baby's development.
Oh yeah,
I always like those.
Yeah, those were very helpful. So
I didn't use the Bump as much, but you did.
I used it. Yep. So 3 apps that we recommend check out is number 1 is the What to Expect app. Number 2 is the Baby Center, and number 3 is the Bump.
Mm-hmm.
You agree with those?
Yep.
All right.
And then as far as podcast, we found a podcast named, what was the name?
The Pregnancy Podcast.
The Pregnancy Podcast.
By Vanessa Martin.
Vanessa Martin.
Martin, yeah.
That one was a really good one. So she had so many episodes on like everything motherhood, basically, like breastfeeding, trying to conceive, like all the things you can possibly think of. She has an episode for it. But then she has a second podcast also called The Pregnancy Podcast
40 Weeks.
Right. But in its title, it has 40 weeks. And then every week has like an episode on what's going on with your body that week.
Yeah. And the Pregnancy Podcast 40 Weeks, the way I recommend you listen to it is listen to it based on the week that you're on your pregnancy. So if you are on week 5 of your pregnancy, listen to the episode of week 5.
That is how you're supposed to do it.
Yeah. Because, you have some people that like to binge things. They just, what?
I think by the time we found it, I think we were like a good 12 weeks in or something like that. So I probably binged like the first 12.
To catch up.
And then went to the other ones week by week.
Yeah, absolutely. So just to say the podcasts again, There's a pregnancy podcast, and then there's a pregnancy podcast 40 weeks by the same person, Vanessa Martin. And then the What to Expect app also has a podcast. But if you are going to listen to if you want to listen to one specific podcast, we recommend the Vanessa Martin podcast. Very resourceful. And then if you were to pick one app to go with, we recommend, if you don't have space on your phone, you want to pick one app, what would you recommend?
Ooh. What to expect.
Yeah, same. I would highly recommend that one. That's a very good application and very, very informative. They know what they're talking about.
Do you want to talk a little bit about our gender reveal?
Yeah. Yeah, very briefly. Go ahead.
Very briefly. So when we got our genetic testing at 12 weeks, we took the test to find out what the gender of the baby was going to be.
Yeah.
But we didn't want to know yet because we had planned when our gender reveal was going to be, and we wanted to do it when my sister was in town.
Right.
Wait, no, was she in town? My sister was not in town.
No, she wasn't. She was still in El Paso.
I can't remember why we delayed it, but we delayed it for something. No.
What was your reason?
Oh, no. Oh, now I remember. My sister, so we found out we were pregnant, and we were going to wait to tell basically everybody until the first trimester was over.
Right.
But my sister was getting ready to move to El Paso at the time, and she wanted to be there when we told our family.
Oh, yeah.
So we ended up telling my parents super early. I think I was only 9 weeks.
Yeah, we
had
were
an
going to keep it
already.
Yeah, we were going to keep it secret until the time when, because in the early days of pregnancy, the rate of miscarriages are very, very high, and so we wanted to keep it until it's a allowable time that we decided makes sense to tell friends and family. But because her sister was relocating to El Paso, we ended up announcing it early to our family.
Yeah. And then the gender, we waited because we wanted our friends to be a part of it.
Right.
But also at a time where it was we felt like it was safe.
Right.
For us to share it with others, like Tajani said.
Right.
Just to make sure everything was okay. And so we waited a little bit.
Right.
Wait, did you want to be a girl dad? Was that your preference?
No, like I told you, right? My preference was whatever God, gives us. And my answer stays the same to this day. Because I know that, God is the one that, blesses you to become a parent. And it's something that I don't take for granted. It's something that is highly sacred to me. And so whatever that gender is, I'll do my best as the person responsible, one of the persons responsible to bring it in this world. I'll do my best to provide and care for that baby. So that's what I've been doing. And it just happens to be that, God blessed us with a beautiful, beautiful daughter. And I'm loving on her, man.
Yeah. I think more than anything, we just wanted a healthy baby.
Yep.
We didn't really have a preference for gender or anything else.
Right. And you have anything else before we wrap up this episode?
No, I don't think so. I get excited when people announce pregnancies, and babies are just such a joy.
Absolutely. And remember that each pregnancy is unique, so consult with your healthcare provider for personalized guidance and to address any specific concerns that you might have. And we are sharing our experiences. We are by no means professional physicians or healthcare providers or anything like that. And we're doing it this way because it's retrospective. So now we're looking back and see the things that have worked for us. And we were able to pull from that and share that knowledge. And we like doing things like this so that way, at least we have that lived experience. And so we hope that, you gain something from it. Anything else? All right. That's amazing. If you find value in this episode, do us a favor, share this with another person and leave us any feedback that you have so that we can get better and continue to improve on the podcast. And we've been, enjoying producing these episodes. And we hope that you also are enjoying listening to them. Thank you for listening to another episode of How We're Doing It. We want to hear from you. Contact us at hwdipodcast@gmail.com or leave a comment. If you like the show, consider subscribing in order to get notified of new episodes. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you again on the next episode.
Mama. Bye-bye.